Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Neca Arkham City Harley Quinn 7-inch scale action figure. This is a Toys R Us exclusive. I picked it up at one of my local Toys R Us stores. Got very lucky finding both this figure as well as the Batman Begins Christian Bale Batman. And they had quite a few of this Harley Quinn on hand, so I was able to look at all of them, compare them, get the best paint job, which is always really great. This is an interesting figure not only because NECA is continuing the 7-inch line of film-based figures, but we have a video game-based figure in the 7-inch line too. And it's none other than Harley Quinn. So looking at the packaging, it's got a nice image there of Harley Quinn from the video game. The theme of the packaging looks pretty nice. Looks like it's based off of her costume. And I really like the font for the writing. Side of the box gives you a look at the figure, and I don't know if that's a quarter scale figure or not. I'm gonna guess it probably is. On the opposite side, we see another look at the figure. And at the back, yet another look at the figure, along with some information. So firstly, it tells you that this is from Batman Arkham City, video game. One of my favorite video games of all time, as well as all the other Arkham games. Just love them. And back here it says, an Arkham Asylum psychiatrist assigned to treat the Joker, Dr. Harleen Frances Quinzel instead became obsessively fixated on her patient, believing herself to be in love with him. She helped him escape confinement and took on her own criminal identity as Harley Quinn. Quinn is a violent and unpredictable felon whose only motivation is achieving the Joker's approval. Because of his cruel and mercurial nature, this in some ways makes her just another of his victims, albeit a very dangerous one. Since the Joker's Titan overdose in Arkham Asylum, Harley's mind is further deteriorated. She is blindly determined to put a smile back on his face. So it tells you what you get here. So it looks like we got some accessories, which is nice because we don't always get them. Here at the top, peek inside, down at the bottom. That's what you get. Okay, so I'm going to go and spend some time getting Harley out of the packaging. When we come back, we'll take a closer look and see what she's like. Alright, you guys, now here is Harley Quinn out of the packaging. And first impression is that she looks really, really good. Now, DC Collectibles also did a 7-inch scale Arkham City Harley Quinn several years back. And I bought her, but I was never really that happy with the way she looked. She had kind of a scared looking face, so I ended up selling her. So I still have that void in my collection of lacking a 7-inch scale Arkham City Harley Quinn figure. And I think this is going to fill that void. We'll see in just a sec. We'll see how she shapes out, but I am really liking the aesthetics here. The physique looks really nice, looks very accurate to the video game. The proportions look good. She does look very much like Harley appears throughout the Arkham franchise. Costume looks really nice. There's some really nice colors going on here that give a really video game, even realistic sort of aesthetic to them. So that's a positive. And she's got a good bit of articulation to her and comes with multiple accessories. I'm ready for my close-up. Here is Harley up close, and I really like the head sculpt. I think it looks really good. DC Collectibles does a good job with the Harley Quinn figures, generally speaking, but Arkham City wasn't their best effort. And this is probably even more realistic looking than anything that they ever did for both Arkham Knight and Arkham Asylum, so I like it. I mean, it's very detailed. The eyes look nice. They have a nice bit of realism to them. Eyebrows look good. The face paint looks really good. There's a little bit of a sheen to it, just kind of to make it look a little more sweaty, I guess, a little more realistic. I like that. The dark eyeshadow around her eyes looks great. The black lipstick looks awesome. It's almost kind of like a black cherry color. There's a little bit of red to it. The pigtails look really nice. Just look at that sculpted detail in her hair. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal. Lots of nice texturing going on there, and the color looks really good. She has the little bands up here that secure the pigtails in place. She's got a red dye on that pigtail, and then this other one has more of like a black sort of color. Now there is a little bit of a paint slop there, and I'm pretty sure that came from this ponytail. In any case, it's a really nice looking head. I mean, I really like what they did here. The rest of the body, you can see that her skin tone is kind of I mean, it looks pretty natural, but it also kind of has like a little bit of a pinkish sort of hue to it. But the sculpting looks great. You can see her collarbone. That looks really nice. The collar she's wearing on her neck looks good. She's pretty well endowed, and she looks good in that area, gotta admit. The rest of the figure looks great. Costume looks great. I really like the corset. I like the texturing and sculpt work that they applied there to her, to the top of her bodice right there. All those little details look nice. There's very nice paint detail for the latches and for the straps and so forth. It looks really, really nice. Her tattoo there on the arm looks really good. It's just applied very nicely. I really, really like that. Again, the corset looks great. There's another tat right there, which looks pretty nice. The arms look pretty nice too. I like how they gave her costume a nice little dark wash to kind of highlight some of that detail, and you can definitely see that. Those straps on her arms right there, they look good. The wrists look good. I like her gloves. It's just very nicely done. The belt looks fantastic. She's got a real metal chain right there, and that looks good. From the back, very nice proportions on the figure. She does look quite realistic, especially when you compare it to Harley Quinn, as seen in the Arkham games. These are totally her proportions, with the long legs and everything. And I like how the pants, again, they have a very nice wash to them to bring out some of that detail and just give them an added sense of realism. I like how these colors are muted. They're not like bright red or shiny black. They're a little bit more subdued, and I think that does wonders for the figure. Also, her boots look really nice. You can see she's got these wedge heels there. Overall, she just looks really good. Peg holes on the bottom. I have zero complaints with the aesthetics of this figure. Just gotta say, it looks remarkably great. In terms of articulation, we've seen before on some of these Neca 7-inch scale figures that there's issues with the articulation. So on Harley, her neck movement is good. She moves down a good little bit. She looks up. You can move her head around. Her pigtails are articulated, so you can move those too, reposition them. Very nice touch there. They do seem a little delicate, especially this left one here, so I wouldn't move them around too much if you can help it. The shoulders move pretty nicely. Actually, that's as good as you can really expect, so that's really nice. And they did a good job of concealing the joint, so that's nice. You get ball hinging at both of the elbows. Seems to not be a full 90 degrees, but it's a good bit of movement. You can rotate them, of course. You get hinging at both of the wrists. Now, it's just a peg hinge. It's not really anything too fancy, so you can rotate it, and you can kind of move it forward and back just a little bit. And the same goes for her right hand. Here at the torso, she does have a ball joint, and it's got pretty decent movement. It's better than what we've seen on some of those Batman figures. Here at the hips, she does almost a full split. That's pretty great. Going forward, there's a little bit of a hindrance here because of this crotch piece there in this belt. Down at the knees, she has bends. You can rotate them as well. And here at the ankles, you can bend them and you can swivel them around. So nice articulation overall. It works really well. The biggest thing is that you can't move the legs forward that much, but it's really not a huge deal. Other than that, I'm really happy with the way they articulated Harley. So for accessories, you get two interchangeable hands. You can see that one of them is more of a gripping sort of hand, this one right here. And then this one is just kind of an open hand. I guess you would just pose this like with her hands on her hip. And they look pretty good. You can see she's got nail polish on. Pretty nice detail to them. She also comes with two identical guns, and look at all the ammo she's toting around. That's pretty nice. The guns are pretty simplistic. There's really not a whole lot to say about them. They look good. They get the job done. And finally, she comes with her baseball bat because it's Harley Quinn. She's got to have her bat, right? And I like it. It looks like it's got some nice texture down here at the bottom. And, it looks like wood. And it's painted very nicely. That really does look like wet paint. So I like that. This is the part where I hypnotize you. Here's a comparison of our Neca Harley Quinn along with the DC Collectibles Arkham Asylum Harley Quinn on the left, and then the Arkham Knight Harley Quinn to her right. It is interesting to see how these fit in with one another. I feel like Neca's figure really fits in with those other two. If you didn't know it was a Neca figure, you would think that it looks like a DC Collectibles figure. So that's a positive because I really like the aesthetics on these two DC Collectibles Arkham Harley Quinn figures. I do feel like the Neca version has more of a natural sort of realism to it that the other ones just don't quite have, especially that Arkham Knight Harley on the right, which has this kind of orangey looking skin tone. And then the Arkham Asylum one, which is a little more cartoony because the designs in the game kind of were a little more cartoony, I guess. and the colors, just really pop at you. With the Neca one, the colors are more subdued, a little more natural, and the proportions on her seem to be more in line with the video game animation. And I also just really like her face compared to the DC Collectibles figures. It just looks more realistic, and I really like the way they applied her makeup. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Neca Arkham City Harley Quinn 7-inch scale Toys R Us exclusive action figure. Ever since Neca started scaling down their Batman and DC related figures to the 7-inch scale from the quarter scale figures they've been offering, the results have been very hit and miss, especially with how tight the joints can be on many of these figures. I've had some just flat out break on me, and issues with the paint flaking and, just quality control stuff that really hinders your enjoyment of the figure. With Harley Quinn here, there's none of that. Not only is she sculpted beautifully and has fantastic paint applications, but her articulation works pretty flawlessly. And I don't know why that is. Why is Harley the best one out of all of these 7-inch scale Neca DC figures? I can't answer that, but I can tell you that she is absolutely the best figure they have put forth in this line. I just really love the figure. I really love the figure. She's as perfect as you can expect at the $20 price point. I really think you're getting your money's worth with this figure. I really like that they loaded her up with some nice accessories and interchangeable hands. And again, the aesthetic here and the function, pretty close to perfect. So I can't recommend this figure to you enough, especially if you're a fan of the Arkham video games or a fan of Harley Quinn as a character, because this is just a must-have for your collection. Alright, my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If so, do give us a like, do subscribe, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and as always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye, Bat Brain!